Are the Knicks championship contenders? Will Joel Embiid's injury derail the season for the 76ers? And we take a stroll down NBA Twitter to react to your hot takes next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime with Josh and Kwab. I'm Josh. He's Kwab. We're here to break down the latest in the NBA. Kwab, how's it going, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah, I bet.
I am feeling fantastic, Kwab. It's a good day.
Oh, really?
It's a good day.
Because the next one again?
Yeah, again, yes.
Again.
Emphasis on again.
Again.
It's beautiful. And we're going to talk about it. You know what? Let's just get right into it. We're going to go pole dancing.
You know you want it. It's time to go pole dancing. Get your mind out the gutter. We're talking about Twitter polls. My goodness.
Yes, this is pole dancing. I put up 3 polls on our Twitter account at The Dime NBA. You responded to it. And now Kwab and I are going to react to your responses. Here we go. Poll number 1. Are the Knicks championship contenders? Coming in at 54.5% was no. 54.5% of you said no, they are not championship contenders, while 45.5% of you said yes, the Knicks are championship contenders. And I am someone, Kwab, who voted yes.
Shocker.
Now, typically, I kind of kick it to you, and I'm like, Kwab, well, what do you think? But can't do it, Kwab. I gotta go ISO for a second. Is that okay?
Let's go, man. ISO it. Let's go. How you feeling?
The Knicks are championship contenders, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not. What bothers me the most is that every time someone wants to count the Knicks out or say they're not contenders, they always bring up like, well, you have Jalen, you have Julius. Are you going to take him over Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Are you going to take Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle over Giannis and Dame? Are you going to take Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle over Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid as if the game is NBA Jam, as if it's 2-on-2 and that's the only thing that matters, as if last year Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler were the duo that didn't run through the Eastern Conference and make the finals? They weren't saying that about Bam and Jimmy. No one even puts Bam and Jimmy on that pedestal when we're talking about duos now. They forget about them, but they've made the finals twice. But when it comes to the Knicks, it's like, well, are you going to take Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle? It's all bullshit. It's all narrative. Right now, if there's any team in the Eastern Conference that embodies what a team is, it's the New York Knicks since the OG Anunoby trade. They are out rebounding everybody. They're out toughing everybody. They are playing defense. They're moving the ball beautifully. They have 2 all-stars. Why not the Knicks? They are 100% contenders. Are they the favorites? No. Am I going to be mad if people don't pick them to win the championship or win the East? No. Of course you have the Celtics and the Bucks. But let's not pretend that they can't beat these 2 teams in the series right now, especially the way they're playing. They are contenders. They should be in the discussion. They are in the conversation. Not saying they should be your favorites, but let's stop pretending that this team is not serious. I'm done with it. And stop bringing up, oh, are you going to take Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle against so-and-so and so-and-so when this is a 5-on-5 game with schemes on offense, schemes on defense, coaching? You're going to take Doc Rivers over Tom Thibodeau? Really? You're going to take Joe Mazzulla over Tom Thibodeau? Really? Come on, give me a break, bro. I'm sick of this narrative, this duo bull crap, as if Jalen Brunson's not the most underrated player in the league right now. The Knicks are contenders. Sorry. Thank you, Kwab, for letting me do my thing, for letting me go Carmelo Anthony, everybody. Isolation.
Oh, man. Are you taking Thibodeau over Eric Spoelstra?
No. But where are the Heat right now?
I don't know.
Where are the Heat right now?
Oh, no, I didn't want to throw it. It doesn't matter. They just got to get into playing. But
listen, I'm not saying Thibodeau's a perfect coach, right? But if there's one coach, maybe 2, who I would take over Thibodeau in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and that's Spoelstra, who right now is fighting to be a playing team.
Yes.
And then you could argue Rick Carlisle, but even that, I don't think Carlisle has the roster to beat Thibodeau in a 7-game series.
I think that starting with that, let's start with the coach. I think Tibbs is very, very underrated in the sense that the Knicks are always going to play hard. And this was many episodes ago during a previous season when the Knicks actually didn't make the playoffs. And I remember we had a discussion. I was like, I thought they were going to make the playoffs because they play every regular season game like it feels like a playoff game, especially when it's at the Garden. They play so hard.
Yeah.
And you have the type of players now that kind of embody that, which I mentioned again last episode with like the Josh Hart, Anunoby, Dante DiVincenzo. Even this game, previous game, Precious Achiuwa, just like really hard playing players, and that's before you even get to the stars on the team. Are they contenders? You could make the argument, yeah, they're contenders because they have
Absolutely.
They have, like you said, 2 All-Stars. Low key might be Jalen Brunson is in the MVP race that like he's sneaking in there because he's having an amazing season.
He's a part of the conversation. He's not in the big part of it, but he's like in the back end.
He's
like, what about Jalen Brunson? Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
He's in the combo because I always say there's the MVP race and award. It's a narrative. It's a narrative award, and right now he has one of the best stories going on. That's a 2nd round pick, leading the team, and you're winning consistently. My one of my main worries with the Knicks is always, are they going to be healthy? That's what it comes down to. Like, are they going to be healthy? They're down Julius right now. Hopefully he comes back. Separated shoulders, like that's tough. The problem with that's like you could re-injure that really easily. I know that having gone through that previously. The big man room, if they can get Isaiah Hartenstein is playing really well, but if they could also get Mitchell Robinson back, also it puts them in another level. There, you could easily make the case that you're contenders. So it's not far out of the world. They're one of the better teams in the East, and you're gonna keep playing regardless. Even if they hit like a little speed bump after like the All-Star break, whatever it is, they're always gonna be consistently one of the most hardest playing teams in the league. Period, and that's gonna get you wins. And I don't know how many teams want to see that in a 7-game series.
They're the 2nd best team in the East right now. And if you're the 2nd best team in the conference, you're a contender. Period. That's how I look at it. You know,
yes,
I
yes
don't think the Bucks. It depends how weak the conference is. Sure. I mean, I guess everything is in context, right? Yeah.
Everything is in context. Yeah.
Yeah, but if let's just say you're the 2nd best team, you're going to the Eastern Conference. You're not going, but like you're slated to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, which means you're in the Final Four, which means you have a shot. You're a contender. Contender isn't like they're going to win it. Contender isn't like I'm putting my money on it, but a contender is like when we're talking about teams that can win the East,
they have a chance
in the conversation.
Yeah.
And not only they're in the conversation, they're in a big part of the conversation where you have to like. It used to be, especially when you started the season, it was like, well, how do they match up against the Bucks and the Celtics? The Bucks and Celtics are on another level than these teams, and they have to catch up. The Knicks are on that level. I don't care what anybody's there. You have to have conversations about how can the Bucks beat the Knicks? How can the Celtics beat the Knicks? Period. Like that conversation needs to be had. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be favored over the Knicks. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, obviously, if the Celtics beat the Knicks in the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bucks beat the Knicks in the playoffs, but it wouldn't surprise me the other way either. And that means you're a contender. The Knicks are contenders, and anybody who thinks they're not, they're just lying to themselves, or they just haven't been watching Knicks basketball since the OG trade. They've been the best team in basketball since the OG trade.
Well, was it 56 point? How many don't believe they're contenders? So it
was 54.5.
54.
So it's basically 50-50, but more no. Question number 2, which was question number 3 on the poll on Twitter, but we're switching it up a little bit. Question number 2, will Darvin Ham make it to the end of the season as Lakers head coach? And Kwab, this was actually 50-50. 50% said no, 50% said yes. You kick this one off. What do you think?
On the first day of Black History Month, you people are wishing a black man to lose his job. I see what's going on. No, okay. Yeah. I was one of the people that voted that he's probably gonna lose his job. But after they just killed the Celtics, by the way, which was like
without LeBron and AD.
Without LeBron and AD. So like he just bought him some time. I really don't think he's gonna get fired just because I remember there was it came out that that he might have lost the locker room, and soon after that there was a report that Jeannie Buss was like, I have your back, so you're fine. Laker fans always do a great job pointing out Darvin Ham not doing his job during games. where they always put up the clips of his hands in his pockets, or they'll do like the side video of like a coach on the opposing team like coaching and Darvin Ham just kind of just chilling or not calling the timeout. I don't think he gets I personally don't think he gets fired. to me with the Lakers, it's always felt like a personnel issue where like players that they have are just not good enough to do what they need them to do. Like they
I agree.
they have players that they have was like, oh, I need you to be a 3-and-D player, but there's one of the things don't always work out for them, and they've had multiple injuries also with their role players. But then you see a game like tonight where you see how well Austin Reeves is playing, and D'Angelo has been like, since he's been in trade rumors, has been going off. And Jared Vanderbilt, before he got hurt, was playing well. Ruri played well also. So you kind of see like, okay, they have the possibility of being a really good team when everybody plays, like all LeBron said, does your job. It's just that it doesn't consistently happen. So, like, again, LeBron said there will be games where they can easily beat anybody, or games where they get blown out. And it just happens. That's who they are. They're this inconsistent team. And Darvin Ham has some blame with that, but I don't see him getting fired before the end of the year.
I think he gets fired if they make a trade and it doesn't work out. I don't know what direction they're going to go in. I think obviously when you have LeBron and AD on your team, you're always going to try to win the championship or make the playoffs because that window is really short with LeBron's age right now.
Yeah.
I think every season is a season where the Lakers are going to go for it no matter what, especially last year when they were below 500 around this time last year, maybe a little earlier. But they made that big run after the trade, and they ended up making the Western Conference Finals. So I think in the Lakers organization's head, like, hey, we can do it again, just kind of tweaks. I think if, they do make those adjustments to the roster, like Pelinka does make a move, and it's just the same results, I do think Darvin Ham gets fired. Man, listen, LeBron is subtweeting, putting like time emojis. He's like, it reminds me of like, you never like in like high school when you were mad, or I don't know if you did this. I did this because I was immature as fuck. Like you just like throw up an away message that like was directed at somebody.
Yeah.
Like a quote, or like just some type of message.
What are you talking about? I subtweet now. I don't know what you
I grew up. You didn't grow up. But that's what it reminds me of. It's just like, he was talking about Darvin Ham, and then you saw that death stare he gave him against the Rockets. He's not happy, man. LeBron, I love LeBron to death, but he does get into this mode where it's just kind of like when things aren't working out, he lets you know somehow, some way, whether it's directly or with body language or like coded through like the media. And he's letting us know. I'm watching LeBron James. I've watched his whole career. He's not happy with Darvin Ham. If LeBron James is not happy with Darvin Ham, it does not matter if Jeannie Buss is and Rob Pelinka is. There's going to be a move to be made. And I think that compromise is going to be, hey, we're going to make a move. Let's see what happens. If all goes well, he stays. If all doesn't go well, he's out. And for some reason, my gut feelings tell me they make a move, but it's not going to work out. That's just a gut feeling. How can I say that? Not knowing what the move is. Yeah. Obviously, it could work out. But to me, last year's run just kind of seemed like it was, I want to say once in a lifetime. That's really exaggerated and hyperbole, but it was kind of rare. Like you don't go from under 500 midway through the season to the Western Conference Finals. To do it twice in a row in 2 years is kind of, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to do.
But is there, okay, I got 2 questions for you. Is there a move out there you think that like makes some change? Because like
no, that's why I said what I just said.
Yeah, I see the DeJounte trade rumors that has been going on for now, and then now I see like the other trade rumors like they want both like Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal and like Spencer Dinwiddie from the Nets.
What are they gonna do?
And I'm like, I don't know if that's what's gonna get you over this hump you're at. Like I don't know. But then the second question is, if they were to fire Darvin Ham, who would be his replacement?
Phil Handy. I think it's in-house.
Handy. Oh, yep.
The players love Handy. He has a great reputation all over the league. He's been a trainer for players across. They love him. The players love him. Every play Kyrie, like they all talk highly of him.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can bring in something. There's not a Doc Rivers hanging out.
Just waiting and
hired.
Waiting in the rafters just to come swooping.
Like Sting. Doc really was waiting like Sting, bro.
Doc was like, oh, Chop.
Bro, I feel so bad for Adrian Griffin, bro. It was like wrestling, bro. Like Doc's music just hit out of nowhere.
Doc wasn't the other thing that came out was like Doc was the one that was like consulting Adrian, like was helping him out. It was like, all right, man.
Yep.
But no, we're not talking
wrestling,
about Doc. So that's crazy.
It was WWE style, but there's no one like that with the Lakers. I think Phil Handy would be the guy personally.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think Phil Handy's the type of guy like you can give a half a season. If it doesn't work out, you hire someone next year to see how it goes.
Is there in your mind, is there anywhere where, let's say the Lakers don't really make a major move? Is there any way they kind of figure it out and get into the playoffs with this team they have right now?
If they don't make a major move, I think he lasts to the end of the season and gets fired in the offseason.
Okay.
I don't think he's back next year, period.
Yeah.
I think he's gone. It's just whether or not he's gone in the middle of the season or after the season.
But they just won the in-season tournament. They just won the in-season tournament.
Let's move on to the next question.
Let's move on
to the next question. Poll number 3. How do you feel about the 65-game threshold for NBA awards? Coming in at first, 46.7% says they like it. Coming in at second is 33.3%. It's whatever. Coming in third at 13.3% is they love it, and 6.7% hate it. So mostly people like it. It has come under some scrutiny because of Joel Embiid's injury, which we're about to get to. Some players voicing their opinion saying that they don't like it.
My issue with it, those player awards, like first team and second team awards, right, shouldn't be tied into players' contracts. That's when it gets
I agree with that.
That's when it gets like iffy. You know what I'm saying? And those awards are voted by like media members. So they're basically deciding.
Yeah, that's what, like, if Homeboy from The Athletic is the reason why I missed out on a $3 million bonus, I'm like,
you know what I'm saying? That's funny. I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. Like,
yeah, you didn't watch Rider University basketball to see what I was doing on the court.
You didn't see my work. Like, you didn't see my highlights,
bro.
Like,
you see the work I put in the SRC.
Yeah,
come on, bro. You didn't see Kwab's dimes in the SRC.
Come on, man. I was
too busy.
Bad. They have my banner up there, but exactly. That's the part I don't like. It's those awards being tied into the players' incentive. So because of that becomes an iffy situation. The 65 games threshold is fine. If like we're going to talk about Embiid in a bit, but like injury is one thing, but just sitting out and not playing is like that's a other thing, because it became such a big deal because it was highlighted so much, not just by the media, when it's like, oh, we have this big game today, team A and team B are playing, and it's like, oh, the star's out. Why? He stubbed his toe last night.
Yeah, and that's like not a you need to play this amount of games. It's more of like you need to play this specific
games, yeah,
type of problem.
Because at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. This is a sport, but it's still a business, and they need to market their stars, because that's what brings in the money. So if the stars aren't playing and you're sitting and people are paying to come watch their stars and like just sitting out, they're gonna feel some type of way. So I think the threshold is fine. I don't understand I don't understand why there's been so much backlash just because of and what Embiid is going.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I voted. I like it. I didn't go as far to say I love it, because to me it's like it's about awards. Who gives a damn? It's like not that serious to me personally. But I like it, man. Like if you're gonna get the MVP, if you're gonna get most improved, if you're gonna get coach of the year, you have to coach 65 games.
Coach can't make it. He has yeah, coach is taking the day.
Throat injury. But my point, like 65, like you should be able to play 65 games, right?
Yeah.
The most valuable player. There's no reason why you should be voted MVP if you didn't play at least 80%. I don't know what the percentage is, but like 80% of your games, period, or any award for that matter. This is just for awards. This isn't for, to make the playoffs. This isn't like any of that stuff. It's just to be recognized as, an MVP or whatever award you want to say. I would like to echo your point, though, that I don't think that all NBA teams should be a part of bonuses and salaries, because now you're mixing like media opinion. You know what I mean? Like this is opinion. This is like agendas. These are narratives. These are, as we know, a lot of national media doesn't pay attention to every single team. Like it just is what it is. I'm not knocking anyone specifically, but that just is what it is. So you're going to tell me that I missed out on a bonus because...
My fault.
But I like it. I like it overall. I have. I have no problem. All right. I think this is a good transition to talk about Joel Embiid because it just came out today that he injured his lateral meniscus in his left knee and will be out through the weekend while a treatment plan is finalized. I have torn my meniscus. It is not a fun injury. It hurts sometimes, but it's more of like, if I were to explain to someone who doesn't know what it is, like you can't like bend your leg, like you can't walk on it. It's not always painful, but it's almost like if you just had like a dead leg that you can't bend because the meniscus tendon in your knee won't let you bend it. That's the best I can describe it, but some are more painful than others depending on the tear. So I guess they're going to see how big the tear is and go from there. Kwab, if you're a Sixers fan, are you panicking? Is the season over?
Yeah. I mean, you're panicking because that's your MVP of the team. Like, you need him healthy. He was arguably having an MVP season. He was playing better than he played last season. You don't know how long he's going to be out for, and even when he comes back, you got to be careful with that because you can easily re-injure that. So,
especially when he falls to the floor, man. The guy's a kamikaze missile every time he plays basketball, bro. It's wild. It's like, yo, land on your feet.
I've been saying, like, please stop. I understand why you fall, but bro, like, it looks crazy.
It looks insane. Sometimes you got like such a bad gymnast, like the worst gymnast. Like here comes Joel Embiid. Oh, that's 3 flips in the air, and he lands on his face. He does not know how to land on his face.
Yeah, he has to have like random bruises after every game from just him like just hitting the ground. Like it's a lot, but like, but like, I feel bad just because like he's one of the most skilled players we have in the league. Like and for him to always have to deal with injuries, and a lot of times this was like. Granted, he didn't look right when he was playing against the Warriors. Like there was that one play where he tried to jump and his body was like, "Nah, chill out, bro, come down." But this was a freak injury that happened. Like when Kuminga fell on him, and I've said this before. It feels like this always happens in the playoffs with Embiid. Like these freak injuries, like. Later on in the season, where
it's not even freak, man.
Against the Raptors, he broke his face.
That's freaky. Okay, that's a freak injury.
Like, go. That's a freak injury. That was he broke his. He broke his face. Even I'll say that even against last season against the Nets, it was like he came down like after a block or something, and like his knee bent the wrong way.
Yeah,
like he didn't look right after that. He has some freak moments, but I don't know, man. It's like Kendrick Perkins said this in passing, and people kind of looked at him crazy. It was like, yeah, they might have to shut him down for the whole season, and people were like the whole season. And I'm like, I hope it doesn't come to that, but
right.
Hearing the way it was worded, it felt like that might be a possibility.
Perk is actually right about that. You might have to shut him down depending on how serious the meniscus tear is. And I feel bad because I feel like, after he missed the game against Denver, there was all this conversation about, oh, he's ducking Jokic. He doesn't want to go against Jokic. He told Jokic that he was going to see him again in Denver. And then, the day comes and he's not playing. I wonder if that narrative and that talk got to him in the organization and like he forced himself to play against Golden State when he wasn't healthy. Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, all these athletes and coaches say they don't really pay attention to fans and the media, but I think out of all the leagues and all the professional like sports leagues that we have here, the NBA players and coaches and organizations, like they are in tune with what fans are saying and they kind of make decisions based off of that sometimes.
They hear it and because it's so loud. It's so loud when it's said. And it was like it was the whole thing about, oh man, he hasn't played in Denver since 1985. It was just kind of
since the Reagan administration.
It was like they just kept like hammering that.
They had one of those graphics. Last time Joel Embiid played in Denver, gas prices were 97 cents. "Lean on Me" was the number one hit song in the country.
You said there was still segregation the last time he played.
There was still segregation.
But like
Tyrese Maxey was 3 years old. Like, it was one of those those graphics.
Yeah, right. Like they just made it so crazy. It was so loud about it. So I mean that probably factored into it. I don't think they made him play because I think he wanted to play. They probably cleared him and were like, "Yo, you can play. It probably won't get any worse." Type of clear.
But
So
I think he made the decision to play because of the pressure
yeah,
and because of the narrative. Like he was ducking Jokic. I think that got to him.
yeah. Which I mean, it sucks. He actually shouldn't have played in the Pacers game
No.
before the Denver game. He should have set that
Okay.
out too. But like that probably again maybe the 65 game the threshold that probably factored into it too, because he's having an MVP season and he doesn't want to sit out too many games. So that might have factored a little bit into it also. But I mean, I feel bad for Sixers fans because they keep going through it
every year, man. It's the same thing I feel so bad for them. And it's just some way or another he gets hurt, or they just kind of come up short in years he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
It's a hard life to be a Sixer fan. It is right now. I kind of feel bad, but I kind of don't because I don't like Philadelphia sports. My next question to you, I mean, the Knicks we just talked about them, we gave them praise, but the Cavs are coming on strong as well. With Embiid out, like, do you think they drop out of the top 4, like get to the point where it's like they're a 5 seed, maybe even 6 seed? Like, is this to the point where it's like, man, I'm not even taking the Sixers seriously as far as the playoffs. They don't even have home court advantage.
It's a possibility. You gotta see what it looks like without Embiid for that, however long he's gone for. The one thing that Philly's lucky to have is that they have Nick Nurse, and he's used to like playing with like these funky, weird lineups that he enjoys that. So to him, it's like Embiid is out, but he's gonna put out like a bunch of 6-7 guys around Tyrese Maxey and be like, "Yo, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna play these weird zones and we'll make it work." So that helps. That factors into it. Which also, real quick, rewinding, but looking at how well the Sixers have played under Nick Nurse makes me wonder if the Bucks feel stupid for not hiring him. But that's a whole other thing. So,
well, Giannis didn't want Nick Nurse. That's the whole reason why. I don't
what?
know
No.
Giannis
He said
Giannis
he
wanted nothing to do with Nick Nurse.
No, Giannis said he doesn't get into that. He doesn't make any of those decisions.
From what I heard, he didn't want.
I'm being completely sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I was like, my sources.
Yeah, I'm being completely sarcastic.
That I heard right on the Twitter streets.
You're like, I'll show you the evidence. I seen it. I seen it. I'll show you.
Oh yeah. This is going back to Giannis being a freaking mob boss. He's a mob boss.
He's a mob boss.
Yeah, he is. No, you're right though. I mean, I think Nick Nurse would have been better for the Bucks for sure. It would be interesting. That was my next question for you. Is like, how do you replace him? Like, obviously, like trade is the first thing you think of. Maybe someone off the waiver wire, but with the roster they have now, it's just a kind of like insult Paul Reed and maybe just surround Maxey with shooters and see what the hell happens. I mean, what do you do at this point? Tobias has to step up, obviously. But like, where does that offense come from? Because you have to make up 30 plus points, and then you have to make up rim protection. You have to make up a lot of different things that Joel Embiid brings to the table. Like, do you think the Sixers roster is even capable of that?
It's fine. They have Pat Bev.
You're right. I forgot. How did I forget they had Pat Bev, bro?
Pat Bev, they'll work that. Team. He calls the Sixers team first team belt to ass. So. That's his name. So
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think that the answers are on the roster. I think you hit it right on the head, though, when you talked about Nick Nurse. You know, his experience with the Raptors, there were a bunch of like 6'7", 6'8", just players, long defenders, and not so much like perimeter players, but they were just an awkward team. But I think he liked it, and I think he wanted to build that way. And now he might have to kind of return to that. You know, you're going to have Tobias, you're going to have Marcus Morris, you're going to have Paul Reed probably going to
Kelly Oubre
be your 5. Yeah, Kelly Oubre. You know, there's going to be a lot of I kind of just run it with I don't know if you're going to run pick and roll with Maxey now, but obviously Maxey is going to be someone who's going to pretty much be your lead dog now. And I think he's capable, obviously, of leading a team. I just don't know how good that team is going to be without Joel Embiid. And I don't think the answers are on the roster. I don't know how you make up the points plus the rim protection. You know what I mean? The presence on defense. I don't know how you make that up. I don't think you can make that up. I don't think they are able to do that. I think they're gonna be in the 5 or 6 seed if Embiid doesn't come back within like 3 or 4 weeks. All right, Kwab and I search the whole app of Twitter to come up with our favorite. We searched far and wide, every search engine, every hashtag, every trending topic to find these 3 tweets that we want to discuss with you on.
We asked Jeeves, and he came up with all these three, only 3 tweets.
We used 3 different AI engines to find these 3 tweets to discuss on our NBA show.
They were the search button.
First one comes from Jackson Frank at JackFrank_JJF, and he says, NBA desperately needs to expand all-star rosters to 15. It's been at 24 spots since 1982 when there were 23 teams. Far too many players with legit cases every year are left off. A few left off is understandable, but we're looking at double digits basically every year now. Kwab, I personally do not give a shit. I could care less, bro. Like these, I don't care who makes the All-Star team. I know that fans do, and I know that players do because it's like an accolade. To me, I just want to see dunks and highlights and good basketball. I understand that some players are going to be snubbed and left out, but if you expand the rosters, there's going to be more people that you say are snubbed. That's just the way it is. That's how it always works. There's always going to be a couple people outside looking in like, oh, I could have made it if there were more spots. So to me, this isn't something a hill that I will die on. I'm wondering what you feel about it.
I think it should be expanded just because 15 makes sense. 15 does make sense, especially if a team, like some teams will have multiple all-stars on your team, and then some teams are just going to be completely trash, so they're not going to have a star. So it kind of will even out. It's just, again, it comes back to the previous conversation when like contract incentives are tied into like all-star appearances. So like if you're having a great season, but you didn't make it because you weren't voted in like by the fans, obviously, because you're not that popular, and then you weren't voted in by the coaches, which is kind of rough. Like I saw on the timeline, people were like, "Well, Sacramento has a better record than the Lakers," and they both Fox and Sabonis both got snubbed, and it's just like, yeah, it's the Lakers though. Like it's just they're the more popular team, so. One of them was going to get one of the players was going to get voted.
The name recognition.
The name recognition, it matters. Like it factors into
like if a fan turns on the TV, they want to see AD and LeBron. They don't want to see Sabonis and Fox. Even though I would argue that Sabonis and Fox are probably more exciting players at this point.
And they have a better record.
The name recognition is there.
Yeah, and they have a better record, so that factors into it. The I'm trying to remember the other player. I saw that some people were saying that should have. I think it was
Trae Young.
Trae Young because of his stats, but like again, they've been kind of, that team's been struggling also, so they're kind of I think they're in the playing section right now.
But the team should have nothing to do with it, man. If you're playing an all-star, you should be an all-star. Period. Well, I hate the whole team argument.
You don't think you don't think that should factor into it though? Because you could be putting up great stats and your team is losing. That doesn't mean like. It doesn't.
You're an all-star, bro. If you're averaging 30, you're an all-star. You're an all-star.
If I'm averaging, who does that? If I'm averaging 40 and I'm on the Pistons and we can't win for 25 games straight, am I still an all-star?
Yes. You're averaging 40, bro. Yes, it's an individual accolade. 1,000%. Yes.
Okay, so
bro, you're averaging 40. Who averages 40?
So then we need to. Me. So me, just me.
I do.
So I feel like because of that, like they should expand it. I feel like they should expand it just because there's a couple of players that do deserve the spot. Some of them are gonna still make it just because of injuries, just injury replacements and all that. But I feel like it's just a showcase, and that's the other thing. The All-Star game is gonna end up. They're gonna make the whole big deal like, oh, it's not competitive anymore. Nobody's out there punching each other in the face when you're driving in a lane. It should be crazy. Like, what are we doing?
Back in my day, you got roundhouse kicked in the face if you try to drive the pain in the All-Star game.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get it. I get that it's just like a showcase, but like, yo, what's going on? Why are they shooting these jumpers? They should be getting in the lane, uppercutting you, and then like dunking the ball, like real basketball, baby.
Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan used to throw hands in the middle of the court during All-Star games. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's what's gonna come up. They're gonna make the point about like, that's gonna come up too. Watch whatever.
You're right. No, you're
happens,
right. You're exactly right. We're actually arguing, not like we, but like fans and media are arguing over like a game that like they're gonna be walking and jogging up the court and like no one playing defense. It's the accolade. It's the recognition. It's bragging points. It's all that. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
The game itself, no one gives a damn about. All right, here we go. Tweet number 2 comes from Evan Sidry at Sidry, Sidery. And he says, Mikal Bridges is a Rockets dream trade target. Dream. I want y'all to sit with that for a second. The dream. If I could have anybody.
Nigga, wake up.
If there's one person who I would just want on my team, it's this guy. The idea of Mikal coming to the Rockets in a Jalen Green-centered deal would make Ime Udoka and company very happy. Houston has submitted offers to the Nets for Bridges, but he's not available. Kwab, you're a Nets fan. I need to know your take on this. Would you want to take, I guess it was like 4 ones in Jalen Green? Was it what was the deal? I haven't seen the deal specifically.
It's like the Nets end up getting back your picks from the James Harden trade. That's
and Jalen Green
player, and who's very, very talented. So like it ends up the benefit of that is it's kind of like a get out of jail card where like if you're gonna be bad, you have your own picks to like justify it. But
right,
if you're bad, you can't rationalize being bad and you don't have your picks. Like that just stinks. I keep seeing this like, and it's been mentioned by like Woj here. It's been mentioned by Shams. It's been mentioned by like different people. Like, hey, Mikal, I don't know why the Rockets would make this trade, and I don't know why the Nets would say no. I don't know. Like, I don't know why the Rockets would make this trade because it's like you hold on to those picks.
Yeah,
you could get like a bigger star in the future.
No, but that's their dream
like
guy.
You feel like it's just
is anyone better than your dream guy?
My dream guy is not Mikal, so I don't.
It's their dream guy. Respect it though. It's their dream guy. It's who they want.
I'm sure. Look, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think the Nets are ever going to trade Mikal. I could be wrong. I could wake up tomorrow like Mikal's been traded. I just don't think. I don't think it's going to happen. Portland was offering like Anthony Simons and their pick for him. I think another future pick for him before, and they were just so they could keep Dame. And the Nets were like, "Nah, we're good." Like, I think part of that has to do with part of that. Yeah, part of that has to do with just what they went through with the big three, and just having a player that is on a great contract and just has like a great reputation in terms of like you don't really have to worry about him doing anything outlandish or stepping out of bounds or whatever it is. I feel like that factors into it because it's just been some of these offers I've seen. They're like even before when they made the trade. I remember the Grizzlies were offering like 4 first-round picks for him.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Nah, we're good." Like so. I will be surprised if he's traded. I don't think it's happening. I don't know why the Rockets would want to make this move. I feel like their issues are they need healthy backup big man. They just traded for Steven Adams, but he's out for the year. But they need a healthy backup big man and probably another backup point guard to use because I feel like they have great pieces there. I don't know why they would want to give up. And they need
a wing who can create his own shot.
So that's Dylan Kobe Brooks. Okay.
Oh my God, I forgot. Wow, forgive me.
Come on, man.
You're right.
The GOAT.
You're right. They have Dylan Brooks.
Your GOAT.
Damn.
Your GOAT. Future Nick Dylan Brooks.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that they're disappointed in Jalen Green, right? Like he's not panning out the way that they thought he would. Even though I think he shows flashes, like he's not terrible. I think his shot selection could be better. I think he doesn't have. I hate saying he has a low IQ. It sounds so like. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it sounds racist. Or it sounds like kind of demeaning. I don't mean it that way, but he doesn't seem to have a feel for the game. I'll just say sometimes I think his shot selection is awful. And I think Ime sees that and just doesn't want a part of it, if that makes any sense. Mikal Bridges, say we want about him as talent level, but he's a smart basketball player. He's a good defender. He's someone who you can rely on. And he's someone who, at the end of the day, I think you know what you're getting from him. I just think Mikal Bridges to me is like the final piece to a puzzle, right? And I feel like the Rockets puzzle is still scattered and everywhere. And they're just now putting the corners, you know what I mean? The edges are just now being, put together. And then they fill in the middle. Like, I don't think they're close to obtaining someone like a Mikal Bridges who's going to take him over the top. Because you get Bridges and then what? Oh, congratulations, you're a 7 seed who's in the play-in. You know what I mean? Like, then what? You just gave away all your draft capital and a young prospect, or young prospects. And it's like, okay, where do you go from here? So for me, I think if the Rockets were to do it, it's kind of, I don't say a panic move, but it's just kind of like jumping the gun. Like, be patient. Be patient. This is going to be like a 2-3 year process. Sengun is going to be, I think as each year goes on, he's going to be better and better. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star in this league for years to come, probably starting next year. I mean, he's someone who we could argue could have been on the all-star team this year too. So for me, I just think it just shows a lack of patience from the Rockets organization, which I think is really weird, but I wonder how much of that's coming from Ime. Third and final tweet comes from David Pingalore, at David Pingalore. And he says, hearing from NBA peeps, King James is the top of the Lakers list to trade the 39-year-old. Pelinka is looking for the right team to dance with and is close to a suitor. LBJ and AD both out tonight. Whew. King James, LeBron James. Now, this guy, the funny thing about this tweet, Kwab, you messaged me and I vaguely kind of read about it, but then when you messaged me again, I looked deeper into it. This guy's been right about like 3 different things in the past. And he seems to have sources.
Three big things in the past, like not only like the Kawhi and other stuff. Yeah, so it's just kind of like, what the?
Yeah.
Are you just like?
Yeah, how? KTLA is for those who don't know who look in this tweet, that's like a local news station here in Los Angeles. I don't know this guy. Like, he's not Chance, he's not Woj, and I'm not gonna. I also don't want to discredit him for things he's been right about. I know nothing about him, so for me to be like, you can't trust him, would honestly be disrespectful to him. So I'm not going to do that. But LeBron James being on the trading block, I feel like that would be way bigger news than some guy who's been right in the past a couple times tweeting about it. I feel like that would, like, Woj, Shams, like, this would be everywhere and it would be talked about ad nauseum. But do you think this has any validity to it?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Let's play the hypothetical game, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it.
Let's do that. If it does, right? What are you giving up to get LeBron?
Julius Randle, Evan Fournier picks.
Because my whole thing is,
I'm kidding. I actually don't. I don't want LeBron on the Knicks, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I think a team like the Cavaliers, you have a lot of time. You have like Mobley, Garland. You have, obviously not giving a Donovan. I don't think you have Garland either. But you have Mobley, Jared Allen. You have pieces there. LeVert that you can give up. I don't know what the draft situation like in Cleveland, but my head went to Cleveland immediately for a team that can use someone like LeBron and who has the players and talent and young talent that the Lakers might want in return, or players like Mobley who might want a bigger role in the offense. I don't know who else, if I'm being honest. The Heat will probably be in it because they always are in things. Outside of them, I don't know who else would be a potential landing spot for LeBron. I think the Knicks actually do. I think that trade I said with the Knicks makes sense. I don't want it personally, though.
Yeah, I don't have a team in mind where I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. If this was actually going to happen, I got it. I got somebody send that to me in a group chat, and I was like, oh, well, any team that makes this trade, it brings the value of your team up like right away, just because people want to see LeBron, so they're gonna come to your arena to watch. And I was joking like, yeah, LeBron on the Pistons, it doesn't matter. Like, people are gonna come watch it. Come watch the Pistons.
It's true, yeah. That would be interesting as hell.
Good Pistons, and then
but it depends, man. Because I don't know if he can go to Detroit because Monty Williams won't give up Killian Hayes, and I think that would be a huge part of the deal,
bro.
Monty's reluctance to give up Killian Hayes, man, might ruin that deal.
I almost sent you that tweet. I was like, but it was like, I'm not gonna. But yeah, I made a Detroit joke, and our friend, mutual friend Zach, was like, if he ends up in Detroit, he's gonna be around people who can't shoot. Like, he's gonna be in the same position he was on the Lakers, and it's worse. So why?
Yeah.
So I don't know how valid this is. If it did happen, for the sake of like the craziness that would be like NBA Twitter, I would want to see it, but
oh my god, emergency episode if it happens.
Facts, but yeah, I don't know how valid this is. So I like you said, I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting this guy and be like, oh, this is because like he's been right before. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how that turns out for the Lakers. That would be crazy if that comes to fruition.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Dime. If you want, you can follow the show on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. We'll see you next time for another episode of The Dime.